Welcome to Made to Make. Here we talk about creativity, the challenges that come with it, and why we keep showing up anyway. Because hey, we are all made to make. Welcome to the Made to Make podcast. You're in the right place. I know this was formerly Painterly Life, but now it's Made to Make to encompass all creatives. I'm your host, Shannon Grissom. Our guest today is Deb Pepin. She's a California artist whose intuitive abstracts and plein air paintings invite us to slow down, reconnect with nature, and really do a deep dive into ourselves. Welcome, Deb.
Hi, thank you, Shannon, for having me. I'm delighted to be here.
Well, I just have always loved your work, all aspects of it. You do a wide range of work. Were you always creative? How did you get started?
Well, actually, my memories go back to when I was even 7 years old.
Oh, wow.
I did a drawing, and it was based on shapes, and I can still draw that same exact image today, which is amazing. But I've always been creative somewhere or another, so yeah.
Did you do a lot of art in school, or were you mostly self-taught? How did that work out?
I did a lot of art in high school, but mostly self-taught. My parents didn't embrace that because it wasn't something that was money making. You know, you need a career, Deb. So you know how that goes.
Yeah, I do.
So I've always done, stuff on the side. I had a career, and then I'll always have done stuff, on my own. So.
Well, being a self-taught artist, can you speak to maybe some of the experiences you had that you might not have had going to art school that have strengthened you?
Well, I think number one, you have this desire to learn everything. You're not blocked into a certain category or a certain genre, which I embrace it all and love it all. I cannot do it all, but for me, I want to learn it all. I just want the knowledge of all of it. So I think for me, being self-taught, I have that ability to really reach out to what I want to do, whether it be figurative drawing or landscapes or pastels or abstracts. Whereas I think if I had an actual major, I would have been funneled into a certain genre. So.
No boxes for you.
No boxes for this girl. Nope.
Was there a moment in life where you shifted from, because you talk about doing other types of work, where you shifted from where you just said, this is it. I've got to do my creative stuff full time. Or did that happen later in life?
Oh, that had definitely happened later in life. I had a career. I was a manager, second level manager with Pac Bell and kids and home and husband. You know how that goes. And that always takes your time up. So early in 2000, I was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis and had to quit my job. I just couldn't handle the stress. And after, getting my health kind of back on track, I needed something to do. I always worked. So I picked up a paintbrush and began painting in watercolor again. And it just took off from there. I just kept with it and kept learning, and it just took off. So, yeah. So that was a blessing in a way. It kind of moved me into a different direction, a good direction. I'm not saying it's bad at all. And I love every minute of it. I really do. So.
Well, it must be incredibly healing. I'm thinking about your doodles.
Okay.
Those are so, well, all of your work actually connects with me on a deep level, not just, oh, this is a gorgeous picture. There's something that speaks about your work, that speaks to my soul, and it's all aspects of your work, not just the doodles. But I would like to focus on those for a minute because that's such a contemplative, beautiful experience. I've watched you do them and they're just amazing. So could you tell everybody about your doodles?
Yeah, actually, my doodles kind of take me out of my, what do I want to say, my more connective to nature narrative. It takes me more into a deeper mental and physical state for me. Healing, if you will, because it calms me down, relaxes my mind. And I often call it yoga for my mind because it really
Ah,
stretches me. It makes me think about shapes and shadows and light and mark making and color combinations. It just takes me out of that more, how do I even want to say this, realism into a magical world for me. So it's a whole different process, but it's okay because I have to have that to relax and to get me out of my head, if you will, to focus on my more, narrative work. So, yeah, I love the doodles. I just still do them almost every day.
oh,
So,
that's great. Do you
yeah.
start your creative practice with the doodles first and then move into the realism, or is it not that structured?
It's really not that structured. For me, it's more at night to
Okay.
relax, take my mind off of things. I tend to get into my head about certain things, so it takes me away from that. So it's usually, late in the studio at night, music going, a dog or two in there, cat or two in there, just quiet. Everybody else has gone to bed. It's quiet. And yeah, so for me, it's more of a meditative thing. So,
Yeah, I find I've got work that I do with the brush, and then my work with the palette knife. I just make stuff up, and it sounds like, and correct me if I'm wrong. When you're doing the doodles, you're allowing it to just flow, rather than orchestrating everything. You're allowing to come through whatever's coming through, and that seems to happen to me more with my palette knife work because I'm just putting paint on and seeing who plays well together. Is that how it is for you, or?
yeah, it actually, it just, and for a lack of a better way to say it, it just really magically happens.
Yeah.
There's no preconceived notion of what things are going to look like, what my pen is going to do, what mark making I'm going to make. I just let it go.
Mm,
And yeah, I do have a lot of failed pieces. Some people would say, "Oh, I like that." I consider it's just in my pile. But it's all part of that meditative practice for me.
yes.
And it starts for me with just color. I may just
Mm,
put color down and let it set for a month. And then it'll talk to me and say, "Ooh, yeah, pick it up." And so it's a very personal thing. Not everybody can do it, but yeah, it really comes from here and here,
hmm.
without any preconceived notion of what it's going to be, what it wants to be. But it talks to me. It leads me through it. So and that's hard for a non-creative to understand that. But yeah, it does kind of lead me through it. So, and each piece
Yeah.
is so totally different.
Yes, they are. I'm thinking though that even though someone who may not be able to create in that way, you're still really connecting with people through that work.
Sure,
So
sure.
that's very cool.
Thank you.
Well, and then there's your more traditional work. And that also, for me, rings true on such a deep level. You have a brilliant use of light and color.
Thank you.
Do you do most of your work in the studio? I know you do a lot of plein air painting. So how is that kind of factored in, half and half, or how does that
Well,
work?
well, now with me teaching more, I don't get out as much as I'd like to. But I do have to say, learning to plein air paint and going out and plein air painting changed my work drastically.
Mm,
It it if anything has taught me anything, it's the plein air painting has taught me how to see things, how to read light and shadow, how to read color, how to read shadow colors, how to read light colors, because there is color in all of that. So it's really taught me how to see things, how to read the morning, how to read the afternoon, foggy days, overcast days, bright days, So I would really encourage anybody that is serious about their work to plein air paint. And it doesn't matter how good or bad you are, just get out there and do it, because it really changes everything. So I need to do more of it. That's one of my New Year's resolutions, is to get out
Me
there
too.
more.
Me too.
Yeah.
So I know, you've done a lot of different mediums. What are you presently working with?
Most of what I call my critical work is done in pastels and oils. Cannot get the hang of acrylics. I've tried, it just doesn't work for me. Gouache, which is opaque watercolor, is another one that I struggle with. And I teach watercolor and drawing, and I think drawing has really helped my work a lot too. Learning how to turn a form on a page, shape, shadow, and light, reading that, learning how that light plays with the shadows. So, yeah, I mean, I continually try to learn and process things. I'll never stop. Not until I'm not of this earth anymore, for sure.
Well, yeah, I'll never stop either.
Yeah,
There's just so much more to learn, and
absolutely.
yeah, I do. So, is there a medium that feels more intuitive to you? Is it the pastels, or the ink and line for the doodles, or there's just different? They're just like different friends.
And I would say they're like different friends, because I use
Yeah.
a different I use a different mindset with each one. The doodles, there's really no mindset. With the other work, there is. You have to think about composition and color, or color theory and value structure and all of that. Whereas with the doodle work, it is so intuitive that I don't even think about any of that at all, ever. Ever. It's just, they just come to me. So, it's kind of cool.
It's very cool.
Thank you.
It's very cool. It really shows up in your work.
Thank you.
And, a lot of people ask this: how do you know when is there a different process for when a doodle is finished as opposed to when a traditional piece is finished? It's like all of a sudden you just feel done, or does it feel the same in both mediums?
I would say it would be the same in both mediums. And my question to everybody, is it ever done? Somebody told me once, it's done when you sign it. Okay, well, I don't know. Sometimes my doodles will sit for a month and I'll put a little bit more work on them and say, aha, okay, sign
Yeah.
it, it's done.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's really a question. That's hard to
Yeah.
answer.
It is. Sometimes I hear in my mind's ear, Shannon, stop,
Yeah,
because I'm ready to overwork it because I'm so into whatever it is,
right.
and I think that was one of the things about being videotaped when you're painting. You look at it and you're like, oh my God, it was done an hour ago,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
I kept going.
yeah.
Well, let's go back to plein air painting.
Okay.
How do you choose a location to paint outdoors? Or is it just what floats your boat that day?
Well, it's kind of what floats my boat that day. For me, it's all about shapes. That's what I see first. I look for shapes, and then it's light and shadow. It depends on. And case in point is I was driving home in August last year, and we had kind of a surprise storm, and it was evening time, and we're driving home, and of course I do most of the driving. So it's like this gorgeous sunset. So I had to find a spot to pull over, and I had to hurry because it was going away. So I'm driving like a mad woman, and I pull over in this dirt, and I get out and I'm taking pictures with my camera. And it's just those magic moments that happen when you're driving or you're walking somewhere or you're at the grocery store and you see something. It's just, it's hard to explain, but it's just something that kind of gobsmacks you and you think, oh my God, I got to get a picture of that or I got to paint that. And there again, it's about light and shadow for me. That and shapes. That's what I boil everything down to, other than the doodles.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's a crazy world for me.
Well, what's a typical crazy world day like for you?
Well, like today, I've been up since 5. I write. I did Julia Cameron's book, The Artist Way.
Oh,
So
yeah.
during 2020, during COVID, and I still write every day. So I write 3 pages every morning. That kind of starts my morning with coffee, and prepare for classes if I'm teaching that day. And sometimes I'll work on something if I have something on the easel and I've got my pastels out. I'll put more marks on it if it strikes me. I don't know. It's just day by day. It depends on if I've got things going or I'm teaching. It just works in. My studio is always busy and messy and open. So I can go in there on a moment's notice if I need to make a mark or something. So I'm good to go with that end of it. It's all the little other things of life that get in the way. The doctor's appointments, the dentist appointments, all that icky stuff. But it's life.
So, how do you get around life's challenges? What do you have any advice for anybody?
Just perseverance. Just,
Yeah.
roll with it.
Yeah.
Those things are going to pop up regardless of how important you are, how rich you are, how poor you are. They're just going to pop up and you have to deal with them. So you deal with them the best you can and you move on to the next thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and create in between.
Yes. Yes. Do you ever get stuck?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
So,
I,
so how do you move yourself through that?
well, I had a real big conundrum during the Christmas holiday season. I really got stuck. I just couldn't get myself to the easel, couldn't create. And what I'm finding is doing a series of very small works, 3 by 5, just sketching out, having just one picture that you can use, but doing different shapes on that, different colors, working different values. It kind of gets you out of your head a little bit and gets you moving in that direction. So that kind of helps me. Writing a little more helps me. So yeah, working small works really, really kind of got me out of my funk. So not for other people to see the little miniatures. They're just
Just to
quick
do.
studies, moving along. Just get yourself out of your stuckness.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I have a series of what I call throw up paintings.
Oh, that's a good one.
I just let it all, whatever it is, I just let it all out. And usually they don't work into anything that anybody would want to see, but it's out of me. And then I can move forward. And I
Yeah.
do love the morning pages. I many years ago started the morning pages, and that's the first thing I do every day. And it's amazing what comes through.
Oh, yeah.
So, and yeah.
Absolutely.
And now, a word from our sponsor. And today, that would be me. If you're creating, growing, or figuring things out, encouragement matters. The Sock Monkey Oracle card deck is something really special. It's like having a creative friend you can turn to when you need reassurance, clarity, or a gentle reminder that you're doing way better than you think. You can find it on Amazon, and it's there for those moments when you need support without judgment. That's the Sock Monkey Oracle. Find it on Amazon today. Now, back to our show.
So uh, I know that you've tried like different mediums. You talked to me about micaceous oxide, and are you always experimenting with different surfaces, different fun things to try?
I do, but I've kind of gotten to a point where if I bring another art supply into the home, my husband will murder me in my sleep. So I've just decided that I just need to kind of stick with what I'm doing, although I do find a few little things here and there. But I have so much paint and, watercolors and brushes, and I do these Zen Doodle classes and parties. I'm doing a party Saturday for 25.
Wow.
So I have
Wow.
those supplies set aside, and it's just I take oil classes, so I have a bag set aside for that. I teach pastel classes. I have a bag set aside for that. And these aren't little bags. These are big, roller bags full of supplies and stuff. So, yes, little things here and there I'll experiment with. I've really begun experimenting with charcoal and what I call reductive drawing, which you draw with an eraser. So you get your
Oh,
charcoal on and you
wow.
use an eraser to pull your lights out. And I've really kind of gotten into that. That's been really fun. So, yeah. So just, that's about it. So no more paints for me unless it's something that I need, like white. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I finally got to the point where I realized, okay, and everybody's got stuff going on, but I have limited time to create.
Right.
And so, how am I going to spend it? And there was this competition using a medium that I won't mention because I don't want to badmouth the medium. but I could, so I bought the paint for $50. I thought, yeah, I'm going to do this and enter the competition. It was terrible. It was just not working for me. And I worked on it every day for a week, and I thought, why are you doing this?
Yeah,
Stop. I will
yeah.
give those away. And I do, you're interesting that we were talking about acrylics, and I struggle with acrylics. I'm I've got a goal to finish this one particular painting, but if I'm not happy with it within a week, I'm gonna go over the whole thing with oils because that's just, I have given it my best shot. And I agree. I like pastels and I like oils, but it's interesting how certain mediums gravitate toward certain people and others work. So
Yeah.
yeah. But anyway, yeah, limited time, focus, but and I don't know if it's the artist thing or ADD or whatever. It's like shiny, ooh, let's try this, and
Yeah.
but it's like no, just have to focus.
Yeah, yeah. And I think too, for us, I think the biggest thing is time constraints. And
Yes.
not so much the money spending on the product, but it's the time constraint. Do I have the time to experiment with this? And
Yeah.
I just don't. I mean, I'm teaching, gosh, I teach every Monday. I cut my Thursday class out, and then I teach on Wednesdays, and then I open the gallery on Fridays. And I will be teaching a short course in drawing on Thursdays for 6 weeks. So, I stay really busy.
You
So,
do. Well, I know. Speaking of busy and slowing down, and regulating that, you invite viewers through your work to slow down and connect with nature and actually tune into themselves. What do you think someone feels when they're standing in front of your work, or how does that happen?
I want people, when they look at or view my work, I want them to see what I see in the world, how I see a
Mm,
forest or the magic of spring in this area, or just even the magic of orange orchards, in a spring storm. Because I view all of that. I was raised here, so I view all of that as it's magic to me. And people in the cities don't see that.
yeah.
They don't know what it's like to walk through a forest and have it totally quiet and listen to the birds and smell the pine. And so I bring all of that into my work, hoping that people that view my work can see that, can smell that, can hear that. Not that it always rings true for everybody, but if I do a piece that I really am passionate about, I hope people will feel that passion that I've put into it, and that I feel too. So
I know I do. I
thank
was
you.
looking at your rush hour piece, and I thought that was just spot on.
Thank
Oh my
you.
goodness.
Yeah, that was the piece that I was driving, trying to picture that storm. That
Oh
I knew
wow.
I had to get that, and I actually did a small piece in pastel as a study, and then I actually oil painted a 4-foot canvas of that same piece. And I
Mm.
will say that my pieces that I work from plein air, or that I have that magic connection to, are the pieces that sell the most, get the most response, and you know, more so than studio pieces from my photos. So that's it's a win-win. When you feel that
Yeah.
magic, you can put that on a canvas.
Yes.
So
Yeah,
yeah,
you're putting that energy there. People
yeah.
can feel it and
Thank
see
you,
it. It's just
thank you,
wonderful.
thank you.
So, how can people find out more about you?
Well, I have my website. There's that. And I'm sponsored through the Door Gallery. I'm one of their members, so they can always go to the Door Gallery in Fresno, and you can come and view my work, or you can come and sit in on a class. I also teach at the Senior Center in Clovis, so I'm teaching
Mm.
centers of seniors to draw and to paint. My classes are very full, and they fill up really fast, but which is great. I mean, that's really good. People are enjoying the classes. So when I teach, it doesn't matter, excuse me, who I'm teaching or what I'm teaching. I put everything that I know into that. So they're getting the top, the top of what I know in those classes, and I think people appreciate that. So so if you're ever in the area, or come and chat. I'm there. I'm at the gallery on Fridays from 2 to 4, every Friday. So, you can always come in and chat, and yeah, come in and talk.
Oh, that's great.
Thank you.
Do you have any parting words for someone who wants to get started and they're afraid, think they have no talent, whatever lies they're telling themselves about why they can't create? Do you have any advice for them?
I do. I teach a drawing class, and most of my beginning students come in and say, I can't even draw a stick person. Okay, well, we're going to fix that for you. And we do. The only thing I'm going to tell everybody is, I, as an instructor, or anybody as an instructor, can never make you better. The only person that can make you better at what you do is by doing it every day.
Yeah.
Listen to your instructor, take that knowledge, take those tips and tricks, and turn them into your work, but you have to practice every day. You will be the only person that will make you better.
Yeah.
So that's my only, advice to get people to be better at their work. Practice.
That's true. Time under the brush.
Yeah.
Well, thanks, Deb. You've been
Thank you.
so inspiring. I
Thank
love your
you.
work, and
Thank
I
you.
will post links to your website so
Thank you.
everybody can check it out and find you.
Thank you.
That's a wrap for this episode of Made to Make. Please be sure to like, subscribe, and share so that I can bring more inspiring creatives to you. We'll see you next time.